so let me pull up our questions here.
And for those of you who are listening, welcome to Two Queens and Crystal Things. And this is the podcast where we are on some
Manifest your life.
hey,
Shift your mind.
hey,
and raise the consciousness type of shit. All right. So you guys, we got a special episode today. And wait, first, little housekeeping.
Oh yeah.
This is our last episode for 2021, and we're ending it with episode 44. 44. We like some angel numbers. So we're this will be the last episode this year. We're coming back for season 3.
Yeah,
which is crazy, right? Coming back for season 3 in January, ready to go. We have some fun stuff that we're working on, so I'm really excited about it. So, it's the end of the year.
Yes.
Everyone is kind of getting their ducks in a row, trying to figure out, okay, what's going on with 2022. I know I am trying to figure out what's going on for 2022.
Yes,
So we decided that we're gonna do our last episode, and we're gonna interview this lovely, beautiful woman named Puja. Puja is an astrologist, astrologer.
Astrologer, yes.
Okay, thank you. Her IG is at Puja Robinson, correct? PUJAROBINSON. So we like to talk about our tools.
yes.
And make sure that we provide things for everyone to kind of figure out the way to get to themselves, to learn about themselves, all that fun stuff. And so I love astrology. I'm fascinated with it because it is truly a science. And when I tell you,
Yeah, I didn't realize it was.
it's the bomb diggity. And I actually had a astrological reading with Puja. I told y'all gonna be mad because I got the cheat codes for my character. So it was a lot of fun. So welcome Puja to Two Queens and Crystal Things. We do our own sound effects.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here. I think it's going to be so fun.
Yes.
So okay, we have. So one. Would you? Man, wish. Okay.
I have a
Good.
question.
Go.
Okay, so how did you even get to this space?
Yes.
Tell us about your awakening.
Okay, so
Yes.
well, so first, to get to astrology, I was raised by a hippie mom in a small town in Arizona. And, where we were, there was not a lot of light pollution. So I was raised being able to see the Milky Way. And she would always have us, learn about constellations. And she would always talk about astrology and Mercury retrograde and all these things.
Oh my God! This sounds like heaven.
Yes. So I've always really been in touch with nature. And so astrology's always kind of been in my world, but my first spiritual awakening was brutal. 2017, it was just like event after event. I think I got a concussion, and then I lost my job, and then I went through a friend breakup, and it was just like, yeah, struggle after struggle after struggle. And so with all of the loss that I was going through, I really wanted to figure out who I was outside of, a job, outside of people. And so I turned to astrology. I'd already been studying a little bit, but I was like, all right, we need to figure out what is going on and who I am, because this is such a painful period of my life. And with all of the loss, I was like, wow, maybe I'm a bad friend. Maybe I'm a bad employee. Maybe I'm a bad person. And so studying my birth chart helped me to come back to myself and be like, wow, no, this is who I am. So that's what led me to astrology. Wow. I never thought it was going to bring me here.
So do you do this full time now?
I do it full time. Again, never in my wildest dreams did I think that I would be offering readings full time, being on podcasts, doing all of the magical things that I do.
Okay, so here's a question. What were you doing before you went full time astrology? What was your career?
That's a great question. So I've done a lot of things. If people know, like if they know about astrology terminology, my midheaven, which kind of whatever sign it's in, it can point to, vocations that you should have. Mine is in Gemini. So in the sign of Gemini, there's a lot of changes. And so I have been everything from, like, I've worked at an art gallery, an art museum, I've worked at a zoo. My like last job before I went full time into astrology, I was working as an office manager at a chiropractic office. So
I
I've
love
done
this.
all the things.
I love it. You said I've done all. I love
All
this.
of the things.
Okay, wait.
Yeah.
So you know what we should do, because she's going to make a couple of points. I was gonna, you guys, if you're listening, pause this and pull up your astrological chart.
Yes.
So when she's saying these things, you can kind of have it at your. You
Yeah.
pull yours up, Crystal. When she's so you guys have something to reference and look at. I would. What's website would you suggest, Puja, that they pull their chart up?
So I use astro.com. That's my personal favorite. You can just, it'll have you pull up a chart. Some people like astro charts because it's prettier. So if you have any like Libra, Taurus in you, you might want that one over astro.com.
Got it. Ooh, I'm gonna pull mine. You guys do need your birth time too.
Yep.
Don't forget. So pause, call your mama if you don't know.
I have mine pulled up.
Mm.
And this is all new to me, so I have to admit, I mean, I've always known my sign. Like, I feel like that's just like the basic thing. What's your sign? My sign is Libra. What's your sign? I don't know what it means. Like, I still don't know. I mean, I'm understanding now some of the characteristics that, some of the signs have, but like all of this, all the houses, like that's completely new.
Oh, we're
to
gonna
me.
talk about that.
The midheaven, which you were talking about. I mean, is it Chiron? Like
Yeah.
all of these things that are in your chart, and I have it pulled up. I mean, you probably can't see it, but this looks like a foreign language to me.
Love it.
Totally.
Okay, so
Yeah.
let's go. Okay, so let's start off simple. Okay, so again, we love it. I love it. I know just a little bit, and enough. And every time I hear something, I'm looking it up and googling. So I have my chart up too. Ooh, I'm fun. Okay, so Puja, there's a lot to cover here. First, wait, what's your sign?
So I am a Gemini sun, a Virgo rising, and a Libra moon.
I'm a Virgo rising too.
Yes. Hello.
Okay, so let's start with the, a lot of people have heard of, what's your sun, moon, and rising. So I'm a Cancer sun, Sag moon, I do the most, and Libra rising.
Libra.
So break that down to people. What does your sun, moon, and rising represent? We'll start with the basic three.
Okay. So your sun is essentially your personality. It's tied to your self-expression, and it's really you're kind of working to become the highest expression of it in your lifetime. So on the flip side, your moon is your emotional body, your inner child, and it's like your instincts. So when you're a kid, you're more of your moon sign than you are your sun sign. And that's why I refer to it
when
as
you're
your
a
inner
kid?
child. Yes.
Interesting.
Yes.
Wait, say that again. When you're a kid, you're more of a moon.
You're more of your
You're more
moon.
of your moon sign.
That's
Yeah.
interesting because my moon is in Capricorn. Well, you know what? I guess so because I was really quiet and to myself. I did not like getting in trouble, and both of my sisters got me in trouble. I got spanked with one, and the other one pushed me down the stairs in a laundry basket. So
You jumped in that laundry
She
basket.
told me to get in it. I was the baby.
You were down. Mm-mm.
I was the baby, so anything they told me, I'm like, okay, bad idea.
So that's interesting. Okay. So go ahead, keep going.
Explains it.
Yeah. So when you're comfortable, when you're alone, that's your moon sign coming out. And so again, you're working to become the highest expression of your sun sign. So that's, people are quick to be like, oh yeah, I'm my sun sign. But really in this lifetime, it's like, do you embody the highest qualities of that placement? And then your rising sign, it's not a planet, it's a house, but it's related to people's first impression of you. And it's kind of like the sunglasses that you're wearing in life. It's like how you're viewing the world, how you're processing the world. So for example, with Libra risings, it's like you're seeing the world as this place where you want to connect with people, where you want to beautify the world, where you want to create peace and harmony, in the world.
Interesting. See, I knew it. I told you, I think I'm more of a Libra than you guys.
Yeah, so you said something like you said the rising is more of a house.
Yes, so your rising sign is based upon your first house.
Let's talk about the houses now. So wait, okay. And I want you to think about this, Pooja. I'm asking you now because we're going to go into this. I like stories. I want you to think of either a reading that you've done or something where somebody was surprised about who they were, but right on point. Any funny thing that that someone has learned about themselves or that you learned about yourself. And
First of all, have you ever been wrong?
You can't be wrong. It's science.
But I have ever not like connected or
Well, so here's the thing with astrology, I've absolutely been wrong, and that's totally fine because astrology, you get like a system basically with these, symbols, and they mean something, but there's, the expression of them it can vary. So what I mean by that is Sun in Libra, that can be someone, maybe more high vibe would be someone who is creative and artistic and who's trying to bring peace to people, but doesn't shy away from conflict because they're good at conflict resolution. A lower expression of that would be someone who is very superficial, who cares what people think to the point where like they're not able to do anything by themselves. So sometimes when I'm wrong, I'm reading the chart and kind of interpreting it in maybe a more higher expression, and that person hasn't reached that yet. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's interesting.
That's usually what I run into more than anything.
Interesting. So we aspire to be the highest version of our sun sign.
Yes.
Okay.
And honestly, within your chart, your birth chart is fixed and it doesn't change. So everything in there, that's what you're working with. But the expression of what's in there can change. So oftentimes I'll have readings with people, and again, I'll be like, oh, this can manifest this way. And they're like, oh, yeah, when I was a kid, I totally did that. But I've learned to do, this instead. And I'm like, perfect. That is definitely a better expression of that. So yeah, it's like, it's just the expression can evolve as you evolve and as you grow.
So what do you think? Don't let me forget the houses, but I do want to ask you this: when you were going through your journey, your spiritual awakening, and had a lot of some questions, and you said you kind of turned to astrology to see what is going on with me. What was one of the first things you discovered about yourself, or would you say what was when you went back to astrology to learn about yourself that really resonated with you? Because something had to resonate for you to keep going,
I think it was just all of it. It was, for the first time in my life, I felt really seen, and it just answered so many of the things that I had felt, especially in regards to like being an empath and being very sensitive to my environment. I didn't know how to explain that before. It's like my friends would invite me places and I'd be like, I can't do that. Certain people they would hang out with, I would be like, I don't want anything to do with them. And again, I didn't know how to explain that. And then within my chart, it was just like, yeah, you have, all of these sensitivities to environment and to people and to energy. And I was just like, crazy.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So I hope that did you get to a point where you're like, okay, it's not my fault. I'm not a bad person.
Yes, it definitely, it helped me to kind of reclaim my power and just see how much I've been giving it away to other people. I was definitely, I would say, leaning more into my Libra moon, but at a lower expression of just kind of wanting to keep the peace at all costs and just deferring to other people for, what I believed about myself. So it was huge to
Gotcha.
Puja
You know what
sign.
what's so interesting. This is why I just love all these different modalities because one of the things that's so consistent when people talk about their journey and their awakening is just like it's like I'm taking off the mask, like I'm figuring out who the hell I am because
Yes.
this is not the math ain't mathing. I don't
Right.
like this. Something's not right. So
It
being
doesn't
able
feel
to
right. You gotta
being able
change.
to think about astrology is like I'm pulling something that's literally at the moment that I was born. It tells me who I am and what I'll excel at intuitively and naturally and where I'm going to have some challenges and being able to see that and like look at your life and literally be like, 'cause, we grown now, so look at your life and be like, damn, like that's it's kind of beautiful to me and so helpful. So um how would you describe, like, I'm saying, I don't want to assume anybody knows anything, so how would you describe a birth chart?
A birth chart is basically a map of your soul. It's a screenshot of the sky the second you took your first breath, and it contains all of the energies that you shape your world with. And again, it's like, even though it's fixed, the expression of it can change. And I think it's such a gift to be able to study it because, like you say, it's like the cheat codes to who we are and to our life. And it just like makes so much sense.
No, it does. It really it's very, when I talked to you, it was like it was very valid. Literally, like Christy, like
It's
what
like
she
I'm
was
not
talking about.
crazy.
Right? No, seriously, she was just talking about the type. We were talking about occupation, and literally it's in the chart. Like this spiritual work. I was like, what the hell? Like, how is that even possible? But like you said, it's fixed, but that expression of it. So it's always been there, but I didn't, I'm just, in the last few years, this is what I'm doing now, but I didn't do that in the beginning. So that doesn't mean my chart was wrong. It's just, it's just, I
Right.
think it's dope. I think it's just super dope.
No, and I'm over here, so I am a mom. I'm over here thinking, like, if I had this understanding, imagine how this would influence how you raise your child.
Ooh, I'm gonna need to pull Jake's chart.
You know, like
That's actually,
I just thought about that because not every child is the same. I have two children, so even though me and my two other sisters are completely different, I just assumed, okay, I have two children that are raised under the same house with the same parents, with the same effort of parenting, but they are so different. And if I understood their chart, like I could actually, you know, understand how to
actually,
better
Christy, I'm
parent
so
them.
glad you said that because, I think one of the things that as parents we have to unlearn is um parenting the kid that we want them to be instead of
Right.
parenting who the
Who they
child
are.
is. So, or parenting how we wish we would have been parented.
Right.
And that might not be what your child needs. So that's a actually really good idea. I still got a couple. Jay's about to get lucky. I still got about a good 8 years before she's out the house. I'm about to study her chart. Okay.
I actually
Um,
offered that. Well, I did for 2 years. I offered that as a reading. It was baby and child birth chart readings.
I think that's
Um,
a super dope idea. Why'd you stop?
yeah. I stopped just because I'm kind of pivoting to new projects. But it was amazing. I did, like newborns up to teenagers, and especially the teenagers. I know you said you like stories. I had one mom who had three children, and like her and two of her daughters really, really got along, but there was one where they were just like butting heads. And so basically, I came to the conclusion that mom had a ton of air energy. So she was just like going with the flow, like free spirit, kind of like just, cruising through life. But the daughter that she was really having challenges with had a ton of earth energy. So she like was grounded and like needed the structure, the routines, the stability. Um,
Interesting.
yeah. So I told her, I was like, you need to like make lists for her and like, tell her when things are shifting, when things are changing, like give her structure. And the mom told me like a week after the reading that normally they butt heads over doing chores. And instead, she just wrote down all of, this daughter's chores and left it on her desk. And her daughter did it without like any of the arguments they normally have and just put the completed list on mom's desk. And she was like, thank you so much.
That is
Wow.
amazing.
Yes.
See,
Oh.
like I,
Hmm.
it has to.
So you're trying to say there's a possibility my daughter's just not lazy? There could be something behind this because right now I'm like she's lazy.
Yes. Absolutely. It's like we're all just wired so differently.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, let's get into the houses. Now this has been wait.
Can you explain what a house is?
Yes, like break. Yes, help us out.
So there are 12 houses, and each house has a different theme or area of life attached to it. And so when you're looking at a birth chart, there are the planets, and they are basically like the characters, and they are where kind of the energy is being focused. And so the planets go into houses. So if you have a planet in a house, then that's where that focal point is. So yeah, it's basically just an area of life or a theme or a stage. And then again, the planets are where kind of the characters or the actors are on that stage or in that area of life. Does that make sense?
Okay, so I'm when you said that, it made me think of like a movie. So the planets are the characters, and the houses are the movie that they're in.
Yes,
Okay.
essentially. Yeah.
Right. So I'm trying to make it sense to my feeble brain. But every house has a different thing. So theme. So the first house is represents.
So it's like yourself, it's your body, it's really, really tied to you. So if you have planets in the first house, then this is the energy that you're giving off. This might kind of tweak or just kind of make things different about your body. Like say you have Mars in the first house, you might naturally have more energy. You might be really restless. You might be very active. You might have great legs. I've actually seen this in people.
Wait, look, I'm looking like,
So yes, that's kind of like the first house. It's really about yourself.
and that's the house that your your ascending is in your first house, right?
Yes. So your ascendant is your first house.
Okay, so that's what she meant when she
So
said it's a
is
planet.
that my ascendant right there?
Yeah, that's your first house.
Oh, it's right there with the one.
Yeah. Did you see the one right?
I do now.
Okay. So when you look at your birth chart, you'll see it's a circle, and it's divided up into 12 pies, 12 slices of the pie, right? And those are the houses, the
Those are the
12.
houses. Yes.
Okay. And then now on the outside of your chart are the signs, the constellations.
Yes.
Are those different for everybody's chart? Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where
So
they're placed.
exactly. So when we're talking about your rising sign, we're talking again about the first house. It's the start of the first house. That's the ascendant. So if your rising sign is in Libra, then your first house is in Libra. So then your second house would be in Scorpio.
Got it.
Yeah.
Oh, got it. Okay.
So the second one is the sun. Well, my sun is in the second, which is why my sun sign is Libra. Oh
No.
my gosh.
So what does your second house represent?
So second house is tied to money, possessions, specifically your money. It's tied to self-worth, self-esteem, and values.
I love this. Like, I mean, I just.
So what does it mean if Pluto is in my second house? Pluto came from the house and was like, "Let me in." I heard you from Mom and Peach Cobbler.
They said that means that your money's hidden from you. You got to find it. I don't know what I'm talking about. I literally.
I do not consent.
Don't listen to me. You know I don't know what I'm talking about.
Well, it depends. I can't see the chart in front of me, so I'm not sure what else is going on. But usually Pluto in the second, there could be just a desire for, great amounts of money, like you want to amass wealth in your lifetime. It could be that there's like a good amount of control that you want over your money. So maybe you're really, really on it with your finances. So it could be anything like that.
Okay.
Interesting.
That is so cool.
Wait, are you oh, I can't wait. When is your appointment with her?
next Thursday.
Okay. I was about to say, I can't wait for you. You're going to have fun with that. Okay. So we're just going to go. I just want to tell them what each house represents and they can, Okay. So third house represents.
Third house is communication. So when you're thinking about, social media, when you're thinking about like books, it also represents like lower level learning. So this would be, like kindergarten through high school. It represents siblings. And to me, it represents it shows part of your communication style, to be quite honest with you. Mercury will show it, but me personally, from what I've seen in people's charts, I think it can show a lot about how you communicate as well.
Interesting.
So do you know your chart by heart?
Kind of.
So what is in your third house?
So in my third house, I have Jupiter and I have Pluto, which is kind of an interesting, not necessarily contradiction, but it's definitely different energy.
I was about to say, because isn't Jupiter like the lucky planet?
Yeah.
The planet of, okay, right.
Yes. So Jupiter, to me, again, if I'm thinking about communication style, even if this wasn't me, I would think that this person is very knowledgeable, very wise, probably comes off very like a teacher with the Jupiter element. With the Pluto element, I would know that this person has a lot of passion. When they speak, people could potentially like really focus and listen. And they're very private.
Oh, yes. No. Okay. So, so with your placements, does that resonate with you?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
I'm like so private, and I feel like people don't know that about me, but I am.
Wait, that just goes to show how private you are. People don't even know how private you are. That's dedication. Okay, that's how you keep it real. She's like, I'm not new to this. I'm true to this. You don't even know how private I am because I'm that private. I like that because I love me some privacy.
I think my Gemini, like, it bamboozles people because I'm like, oh, chatty, but I'm very, very private.
Okay, so what's next? Fourth house?
Fourth house, yes.
Yeah, what's the fourth house?
So the fourth house is about home and family. It can be tied to like ancestry and roots.
Thank you. Family, ancestry, and okay, wait. Before we go into that, each house has a planet that's associated with it, or a constellation that's with. Don't give me the line. Tell me.
So when you're looking at what's called a natural chart, which is how like basically the chart should be, then yes, there is a planet that is basically there's a planet that rules each sign. And because of that, there is a planet that is associated with each house.
Okay.
I can barely memorize the little symbols for each of the signs.
Oh my gosh, these symbols are off the chain. Like, I can't. No. I'm glad they have a little thing right here so you can see. Okay, so family. So is this what type of family life you want? Or, what do you mean when you say like it represents family and your home?
Yeah, it can point to people's kind of connection with family, their like attitude or feelings towards family. If someone has a ton of planets there, they might literally be like a homebody and just be very introverted and shy and quiet. I personally have nothing in my fourth house. And
me either. I'm like, what does that mean?
And I have Sagittarius on the cusp of my fourth house. So the way I treat family is like, bye, I'll see you later in like 2 years. So it really depends on like what's going on with your fourth house, but it really does shape your kind of, again, association and connection to family. Are you close to family? Do you value family? Do you like really have a tight-knit family? Or again, is it more kind of free-spirited where it's like, all right, yeah, I'll see you in a few months, like whatever.
I'm kind of like that.
Wait, so you and your brother are close?
We're close, but he, I don't think he has anything in his fourth house either.
So that's interesting. Okay, because wait, which house did you say it had siblings in it? Two?
Third house.
Third house, okay. That's interesting. Okay. Fifth house.
So this is the fun house. This is where.
Oh, sucky.
Yes.
My moon is in my fifth house.
So this is where romance, creativity, children, sex, sports, gambling, all the like fun slash risky things live in this house.
Wait, like, are you for real?
Mhm.
Is this why I'm not having sex? Because there's nothing in my fifth house? Is this what's happening? Is
Wait.
this like fifth house?
Oh yeah.
Why doesn't? What's wrong with me? So depending on the sign or planet that you have in that house. So remember, the planet is the character. So this house, this movie is the fun movie. This is,
Yes.
So
like,
my moon is in the fifth house. So what does that mean?
that means you're crazy.
Well, it's interesting
Super
because
freak.
I mean, well, the thing is though, there's like Capricorn on the cusp of your fifth, and I know that, and your Capricorn moon is probably to you fun might be something that's educational or productive or rewarding.
Did you just say productive is fun? Oh my! I would jump out this window. Are you kidding me right now? She's over here like, yep, 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 yes.
I love a good checklist.
Yes,
Oh my god.
exactly. So again, that's why everyone, their rising sign, the houses, like
Oh my
the
gosh.
sign that's on the cusp of the house, the planet that rules the house, it really shapes what we think about all of these things.
I love this. Okay, sixth house.
So sixth house is tied to work. It's tied to our day-to-day life, and it's tied to our health.
Really?
Mhm.
Day to day
What does
life.
it mean when there's no one in the house?
Yeah, like, what does it mean when you don't have planets in? Like, if there's a house that you don't have planets in.
It just means that the energy is being focused elsewhere. Um, so some people, for example, will have all of their planets clustered in one area, and that's
Mm-hmm.
not a bad thing. It just means again that they're really focused on that area of life, and all the other houses, they're kind of utilizing the energy of other houses to focus on this one. So I think it's personally, it can be nice because those are the people who are very like, I'm focused on work in life and that's it, or I'm focused on this in life and that's it. But then obviously other areas of life can suffer because this person is very, they have tunnel vision about this specific part of life.
Well, you know what? Okay, so this makes me think because, and if you believe, as I do believe, that we kind of designed this. This is another reason why I like the astrology so much because it gives us an opportunity to be reminded of the plan that we put in place. Like, this is so if you have certain things, like, so it makes me feel like I didn't, if I don't have something in this certain house, like maybe that's something in another lifetime that I've taken care of. Like, I'm just not, that's not where I need to focus my energy
Mm.
during this life. I'm good over there. Yeah, I kind of look at it as like, not, not necessarily, it may not be a good or bad thing, but I just, the way she described, I feel like, okay, that means, you know your energy, your challenges are going to be someplace else. So I don't need a planet in every house. I don't need something
Yeah.
going on.
So I look at it this way: when you have a house that doesn't have any guests and it's empty, it's gonna stay clean.
Facts.
I have guests in all my other houses. I mean, I have three empty homes. So
Okay, so what's in your fifth house, Pooja?
So I have Neptune and I have Uranus.
So Neptune, like the spiritual philosopher, is that it? See, I've been
Yeah.
studying.
oh yeah,
Yes. And actually, to your point, Mia, there are some astrologers who do believe that if the house is empty in a past life, you have like accomplished or completed that like lesson, goal, cycle.
Oh,
Like you've
see, I just
mastered
made
it.
that
No,
up.
you did.
you be knowing.
Interesting. Okay, this is so fun. Okay, sixth house.
So we touched on that one, and then remember we talked about it being health, work,
Oh, duh, seventh. I
your
don't.
routine.
Oh yeah, because no one's in the house.
Right, seventh house.
No one's in the seventh house either.
So seventh house is about connection, collaboration, partnership. So this is more of like a committed house. So this is where we are like shaking hands with people. This is where we're doing business deals. This is where we're getting married. This is where we're becoming best friends. This is where we're doing business together. So this can even be clients, but it's some sort of like commitment and closer connection than just the casual energy of your first house, which is kind of meeting people in passing.
Gotcha. Very interesting. Okay. Um. Okay. Your eighth house.
So this house is a little intense.
Oh, look, I'm like, I just got scared because first of all, there's way too much action in the eighth house, and then for you to say that, now I'm nervous. Why did you make that face, Pooja? Mind your chart. You just made me nervous, Pooja. Why'd you? What's going on with the eighth house?
Well, so the eighth house is, if we talk about it in a kind of grounded, like house on the physical plane, then it's about like assets. So it's about other people's money. It's about like taxes, inheritances, royalties, scholarships, grants, loans, anything like that. That's where this house lives. Because if in the seventh house we're getting married and signing business contracts, then the eighth house is where we're merging our assets together. So yes, that's kind of like the more, again, like physical
You said
thing.
other people. So okay. So
Yeah.
I'm supposed to be royalty or something because I'm inheriting something from somebody. Well, that's what I'm gonna take that this means.
Yep.
Not that I have to pay nobody.
Exactly what it means.
I'm taking it. This means like, where's my check?
Yes, exactly. So people with eighth house energy, and I've met a lot of them, oftentimes, I mean, they can literally be like accountants or anything like that, financial planners. Like they're good with other people's money. They could even manage it. But I've met some people who they are just kind of blessed and lucky in life in the sense that people are always like, like offering them money or things, even if it's not money, it could be like, oh, can you house it for me for a month in my beautiful home in Hawaii for free? It's stuff like that. It's like,
Right, you're like,
money. It's like,
yeah,
yeah, exactly.
can't see. Yep, eighth house. See that? Okay.
Yeah.
Y'all heard what Pooja said. I'm talking to my spiritual team. I'm just saying, y'all. I put it in the chart, so let's make it happen.
And then on the more metaphysical level, this can be kind of the house where we go to do shadow work because it's really about like secrets and fears, and it's like the skeletons in our closet. So usually if people have, I know, if people have eighth house energy, they're people who have experienced, the darkness of life, to be quite honest with you, loss, struggle, pain, abuse.
Is that why
this is my life story right now. I'm like, yeah.
Is that why my Chiron's in the eighth house?
It could be. It depends on how it's manifested for you. Sometimes Chiron in the eighth is struggles with intimacy, like getting close to people, not even in a sexual way, just getting close to people because maybe you've experienced so much loss that there is this subconscious kind of belief that if I get close to this person, I'm going to lose them, and I can't do that anymore. Like I've been there, and that hurts.
Wow. So that is interesting. So I have Mercury and Venus, and no, Mars. No, I'm sorry, I can't even see what these little things are. I have Venus in the eighth house, and just thinking about what she said, I'm like, that makes sense to me. I'm like, okay, on so many levels. What is that thing there with the arrow? What's the thing with the Mars? And Mars in my eighth house. So Mars is isn't that like a little fiery planet?
Yes. So he's the planet of war. In the eighth house, it depends on like what sign he's in, but he can operate in a way where when it comes to other people's money,
Taurus.
Okay, so you're like a little bit. Mine's also in the eighth house, so mine's in Aries.
Oh.
Yes.
Okay.
So I'm a little feisty. And again, the eighth house is where we hide things. So when it comes to the planets that are in there, you might hide this about yourself. So with Mars, it could be your struggles. It could be kind of your feistiness, any of that. With Venus,
I'm the most peaceful person that you will ever meet.
Yeah, totally, because your Mars is in Taurus.
You're like, yeah.
Mine is in Aries.
Like, I will not be fooled. Your chart.
I'm about to say hers is in Mars. Okay. Oh my God, I love this. Okay. Ninth house.
Yes. So ninth house is about higher learning, right? We talked about the third house as like kindergarten, high school. So ninth house is where we go to college. It's where we get, our master's or PhD. It's about travel. It's about religion and spirituality. And when I'm talking about travel, because third house is also travel, but it's like local travel. Ninth house is like new and foreign and long distance. But again, it all depends on the chart holder. Maybe for some people who have never left their state, like maybe traveling from, I don't know, like Nebraska to like California is ninth house energy because they've never left that state. So it really depends on the person.
Interesting. Well, I've had my reading with her, so we talked about this, and she's like, "So do you like travel?" I'm like, "Do I?" I'm like, "I'm trying," but I have a contradiction on my chart because part of me is like I'm all about home, but I need to be someplace, so I need a home base. I couldn't be a nomad. There has to be someplace that I have to.
Yeah.
Like, okay, I'm home, but I really like being out, trying new stuff, meet new people, keying it up. So, one other question before we move to the 10th house. You can answer it at the end, but I want to say it so I don't forget. What does it mean when your sun is in a house?
So your sun is basically just you, and it's kind of, where your vibrancy is and where your light is. So wherever your sun is where, again, you are putting kind of the most amount of your kind of energy and like life force. Um, Oftentimes people, wherever their sun is, it's kind of like the role that they play. So this can, translate to their vocation. So maybe sun in the third would be a writer, sun in the fourth, maybe a stay-at-home parent. It doesn't always have to be that way.
Interesting. Okay, I see what you're saying. Um, okay, okay. That was, thank you. Okay. What are we on? 10?
10.
10, please.
So the 10th house is tied to career, and it's tied to kind of like your highest aspirations in this lifetime. So it's really what you want to leave behind.
Ooh. Okay.
Your
Mars.
highest aspirations
I don't
for
know
this.
what that
Okay,
is.
gotcha.
Is that Gemini? I don't know what sign that is.
I don't. I mean, seriously, do you know all these signs by heart,
Yes.
Pooja? Of course you do.
I mean, I know Taurus is it's the
Well,
one that looks like
oh,
a.
it's Gemini because that's Cancer. So
Okay.
it's Gemini, Cancer, Leo. You know?
Okay.
Okay. See, look at us. We sound like we really know what we're talking about.
I know, it's good.
Highest aspirations for this lifetime. So is this where I would look for if someone was trying to figure out what their purpose was?
Maybe not necessarily their purpose. That's definitely more tied to their north node. But if you are someone who has a lot of 10th house energy, then you're someone who wants to, again, leave something behind, achieve things, get, um, it's not even necessarily like fame, but you just want to be known for things. You want recognition, you want acknowledgement. So usually 10th house people, they're kind of working with um, just like big audiences, or they get to like the top of their like businesses or their jobs. They become the CEOs, the managers, etc.
This is really interesting. Okay. 11th house.
So 11th house is about friendship, community, hopes and dreams. And to me, it's kind of like just in general when you're working with like large groups of people.
When you're okay, got it. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And finally, our 12th house.
So 12th house is kind of hard to explain. On a spiritual, again, on a metaphysical, spiritual level, this is kind of our subconscious. It's where we go to like meditate and journal and be alone. It can become this place of solitude and healing. Um, on the flip side, if you have planets in here and you're not in touch with them, then this can be what is known as the house of undoing. And the reason is the things that are in there, you can have a hard time getting in touch with them. And then there can be limiting beliefs, and they can kind of wreak havoc on your life. And some people with 12th house placements, they end up in like mental institutions or jail or anything like that.
Because my Venus is in my 12th house. What does that mean?
I'm about to just choke. Okay, I was like,
Again, it depends on kind of your connection to your Venus. It depends on if you connected with your.
she said your connection to your vagina. That's what she just said. I swear I heard her. She said depends on your connection to to
That's
your
true.
Venus. No, go ahead.
Can't deny that. It's in my chart.
It depends on your connection to your, like, Venus represents money. It represents beauty and femininity. It represents your values. It depends on if you have connected with those things. If you haven't, then there might be limiting beliefs or things holding you back.
Oh, this is wonderful. Okay, so somebody just is looking at their birth chart right now because
And that's not even it.
to someone who hasn't studied this seriously. When you just look at this, it's like what this is a lot. Like what is happening? So if there was something and you say like, hey, what's one thing that's an easy for them to kind of pick out? Is it like which house has the most planets, or where was something for a beginner just like trying to figure this out? Where would you point them?
I mean, I would really start with your sun, moon, and rising. I think getting to know your sun sign is important, because again, this is like your personality. It's your ego. It's you. Whatever house kind of your sun is in, again, because this is your ego, because this is how you identify, there's going to be no separation between the two. Like you just can't do it. And so say your sun is in the 4th house, sometimes that could be challenging if people, for example, maybe they were adopted, or maybe they don't have a good relationship with their family. That's really hard because they build their identity around family. Like I said, you can't separate it. So my advice to someone like that would be like, oh, build your own family, create your own family, because this is something that's important to you. So studying your sun, that's important because it's you. Your moon, again, this is what you need. If you ever dive into inner child work, you can nurture yourself through your moon sign and what it represents. And then your ascendant, because again, it's like, this is how you are processing and perceiving the world. So for example, Virgo risings, they see the world as a place where they want to be of service, where they want to fix and help and have a purpose. And so that's why it's really important to know those big 3 outside of even like a superficial, like, oh, what does this mean for my personality? It's like, that is you, that is your heart and your like soul and your inner child. And that is kind of, what your soul wants you to do in this lifetime with your rising sign. And so Virgo, again, it's about having a purpose and helping. With Libra, it's about connection, building partnership, and beautifying the world.
Yes.
Well, so you guys heard it. So get it minimally. Look to see where your sun, moon, and ascendant sign, which is your 1st house, and see what's going on in there, because that gives you some sauce. That definitely gives you some sauce. My sun is in the 9th house.
Which is what?
9th is wait, foreign travel? No. Yes? Foreign travel. Oh, I'm remembering a little bit. Come on. I don't remember the rest. What is 9th again?
So it's about travel, it's about learning, it's about spirituality. And so again, it's like, it seems so obvious to me. I think this is because it's what I do, but with sun in the 9th, it's like, it's important for that person to go on journeys, to travel, to learn new things. But I'm not kidding. I will like sit with clients and I'll be like, oh, your sun is in the 9th house. Have you ever traveled? Do you connect with spirituality or religion or just something greater? And they're like, no, I never have, but I'm just like diving into it. And they're like, yeah, it makes me so happy. And I'm just like, how have you never like experienced this before? Like this is you. This is part of who you are. Yes.
Like that. I mean, such a good point. And this is one of the main reasons she just touched on why we wanted to do something about astrology, because again, we're all about, self-mastery. This is another way. So if that's something you haven't done and it's like literally connected to who you are, that might give you a reason, why do I feel off and crazy, and I'm something's missing, is because you're not connected to who you really are. You gotta look into this, you guys. I'm telling you. Call Puja. IG at Puja Robinson. I'm telling you, I get the cheat code. I got the cheat
You guys, look, I have my appointment scheduled with her for next week, and I'm really excited to learn because, again, like I saw this meme, someone posted, what if, your natal chart was actually your cheat codes for your character, that you're playing, and I was just, my mind was blown.
Oh, but I saw it because they had Jaden Smith was his picture on there, like on this meme. He said, what if life is a game, and your birth chart were the cheat codes for your character?
Yep.
But I do think it is. It's the cheat codes.
Yeah.
Well, and now that I'm starting to learn things, I am realizing that there is a connection there, and it's not just something that's just like, oh, that's so stupid, whatever. I'm a Libra, not that big of a deal, whatever. I'm indecisive.
Okay, so Pooja, you know how you'll see these, and I do them all the time, and it's so funny. I do these quizzes literally every time I see one, like since I was like 7. If it's a horoscope quiz to tell you who you're supposed to be in love with, baby, I'm doing it. It does not matter. I don't know. They're asking me the most random questions. What's your favorite color? But look, let me tell you, I want to know.
Like, yes.
Yes. So, and so I'm sure everyone has done this before. They'll say Libra is more compatible with this sign. Do you think that is a pretty, a reliable, I shouldn't say reliable, a way to look, but I feel like there might be something on your chart that give you a little bit more information than just somebody's sign, right? Wouldn't it?
Yes, totally. Yeah. Are you asking, can your birth chart show you what sign you should date?
Or can your birth chart show you the type of person that you should date? Like, you know what I mean? And can it also show you the sign?
Yes, it can point to both.
Really?
But I like to put an asterisk next to the sign because sometimes it can manifest in a different way. So sometimes there will be something that's like, oh, Capricorn energy, and then the person won't be a Capricorn, but maybe they'll have a really strong Saturn, which rules Capricorn, and maybe it's like on their ascendant or something. So there's no Capricorn in their chart, but they're still fulfilling that kind of role of being hardworking and practical and committed. Yeah, but you can learn a lot from your birth chart about what it is that you need in a partner, and how you love, what your love language is, and even what other people's are too, which is incredibly helpful because it's like, some people are just built to be very like, acts of service, and that's their love language, but you're over here wanting like, like all this romance, and you're like, stop, building things for me, like give me some flowers, and that's just not how they're built. So it can be helpful and just understanding, Yeah.
So what would they look at on their chart to find, get a little insight on their love life?
She's like, give us the juice.
Like, what do they look on here? What do they look to see?
So you would look at, for Venus, that's how you express love. So it's like, this is your love language. And then Mars is kind of what you're attracted to. So this can be like your sex drive. This can just be like, what you're attracted to.
And you're looking at what house it's in?
You can just look at the sign. Like Mars in Aries is like, I'm attracted to, men who are like powerful, like strong, masculine AF. But I have a friend who's bisexual and her Mars is in Gemini, and Gemini write about duality. And it's ruled by Mercury, which is technically, Mercury is, he's neither male or female. And so she is bisexual. So Mars and Gemini.
Oh, I get so much. No, wait, and it's in the chart. Okay. This is okay. So think about where.
That's a lot of information.
I know. I mean, this is juicy. So Puja, for your chart, where what does your chart tell you about what you need in a relationship? And I want to know how well have you listened to this, but go.
So yes, my Mars is in Aries, and I have been like in the past attracted to men who were powerful. Like I've dated a lawyer, for example. And there's like other things in my chart that point to dating older men. I've always liked older men. I think because I'm pretty mature, so I'm like, I'm not trying to babysit you or raise you. Um, and then my Venus is in Cancer, which my love language is to kind of like nurture and take care of and just be very soft with people. But that's the thing is like my Mars likes to chase people. My Venus likes to like nurture and like take care of people. But my Juno, which is a asteroid that points to your ideal partner, is in Libra. So when I learned that, that was a game changer for me because I was like, I'm actually looking for and I need a partner that, the Libra energy is like it's balanced, it's fair. Like,
Wait, so your Juno tells you what you need.
it's what you need in a partner.
Right,
so
right. In a
Mars
partner.
and Venus is like, I'm attracted to this, right?
Yes.
And attraction is cool because it's like, okay, cool, I'm going on a date. But then, after those dates, it's like, are they actually fulfilling your Juno requirements? And most people were not fulfilling my Juno in Libra, which again is about like equality.
Right.
I want a partner. I want a person who's like on the same vibration and like wavelength as me. And oftentimes it's been really imbalanced and skewed.
So okay, so Puja, so how do you now, knowing what you know, right? So how do you balance like I'm attracted to this power, like because this happens to a lot of people. Like I'm attracted to this, but I know this is that good boy bad guy thing. It's like I'm attracted to the bad guys, but I need, you know what I mean? How do you balance that? How do you? Because it's almost like you're if people feel like they have to cut off what they're attracted to just do what they need, and that's how some people end up in these situations and that, you know what I mean, that they're really not, but because they went with the safe, this is what maybe what they needed, but they're not attracted to it. So is there like, how do we look at our Juno, see what we need, and then also figure out how to make that work for us? Give me what I need and what I want.
I think it's really about being creative. I think that's the fun thing that I love about astrology is that you can get creative. It's like, with mine, for example, with Mars and Aries, I can still have that fire, that passion, someone who's independent, someone who's very like driven in life, but someone who's also soft and nurturing that my Venus needs, and then someone who is a partner, It's like I think you can find a blend. And I think beyond even you finding a blend, I have found in so many couples readings that I've done, the universe just brings people together in like such a beautiful way that like, I'm like, I couldn't even have like, like predicted this or planned this.
Wait a minute, hold on.
As good as it is, so.
Pooja, have you ever done a couples reading and it was very clear from the charts you were looking at that this was not going, they were not aligned?
So fortunately, usually when I'm doing couples readings, they are like married or in a long-term connection. And I'm like, yeah, these are your challenges. These are kind of like the sweet spots in your relationship. But I have had less serious relationships where just in their own reading, we've talked about kind of the differences between their Juno and their Venus and Mars and their current relationship. And I think it just highlighted to them that they were not with the right person, and they did end up breaking up with that person.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, this is interesting. Interesting. Okay. So you're attracted to what you need. Okay. So wait, what's the question I just asked?
She just answered it. Was it the dating piece?
I looked at this and I had another question and I can't remember what it was because I got so into her answer for that. And I'm like, darn it, what was the question? Okay.
And we are at 58 minutes.
Okay. All right. So, Christy's question about, she keeps talking, who is Chiron? What is Chiron? Bro, like, who is this person? Do we care? Is it Chiron? Is it Chironi? Like, who is homie? Like, what's this about?
Chiron meta.
Right. Like, is that short for something?
So Chiron, you were right, Chiron. Um, he is considered the wounded healer in astrology, and so he's an asteroid. And he basically just points to where you've been wounded, um, and where you kind of consistently have triggers, and it's kind of like your deepest pain point. But
Ooh.
again, he's the wounded healer. So his story is actually, I think there's like two versions of it, but essentially his parents rejected him because they thought he was so ugly that they like threw him away. And then I think it was, I can't remember. I'm like, someone raised him. Um, and then there's another story where he is injured, but he can't heal his injury, but he heals everyone else around him. So it's just this kind of like, it's like the injury that won't heal, that rejection wound that even though he, has someone take him in and raise him, he still always has that pain of my parents literally rejected me because they thought I was so ugly. So it's like our deep, deep kind of like pain point.
Ooh.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I know.
Wow.
And you won't
Okay.
find a healer without a prominent Chiron. You just won't.
So what would make it prominent?
It would be like on an angle or hitting like a personal planet. Just something that's like very, like you look at it and you're like, ouch, like that.
Gotcha.
That hurts. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. So, what are three things, just, for our listeners, to say, if I know you talked about the sun, moon, and the rising, but what are just three things from astrologically, if people want to know more about themselves? We always get the question like, I'm searching for my purpose. I want, you know what I mean? And so, and as you well know, when shit hits the fan and you're looking for something, like you're searching, like I'm pulling on something, and some people will go to astrology just like you did and be like, give me some answers.
Help me.
Help. I just, what are the three things that you would say, point them to? Like,
I would probably say their north node. So your north node in astrology is tied to your soul's purpose, but I kind of want to like again just kind of put like hyphens around that because it's like people get so fixated on this is my purpose, and sometimes
yeah.
your purpose, like maybe your north node is in the fourth house, but you have all this 10th house energy, so you're like, but I don't want to like quit everything and like focus on home and family. What does that mean? So sometimes it's just how your soul wants you to grow in this lifetime. But it can be so helpful to look at and just realize like, okay, I'm moving towards this direction. I'm not abandoning my south node. I'm not abandoning, like in this case, that person's 10th house energy, but I'm putting more effort into building and working with my north node.
Interesting.
Let's see, what else would I recommend? Maybe your series. Again, another asteroid. It's tied to nurturing. So I'm just a huge fan of inner child work. So I like to use the moon and Ceres kind of together because Ceres really shows what you need to be nurtured and how you nurture other people.
How do you spell that?
So it's CERES.
Interesting.
Okay.
What type of when you do inner child work? I'm sorry. Shut up. I'm telling myself to shut up. Finish number 3, and then I'm gonna ask the question.
With number 3, these are all kind of different points. So we're kind of jumping away from all of the main planets, but the last one would be what's called your part of fortune or your lot of fortune. And that can show where you can kind of create abundance in your lifetime, but it doesn't need to just be monetary. It can be emotional abundance, it can be metaphysical, whatever you kind of consider abundance to be, that can point to how you can create it.
And what did you call it again? Your lot of.
Yes, it can either be lot, LOT of fortune, or part, PART of fortune.
Wow. This is some amazing stuff. I mean, seriously.
I know. I'm sitting there like I'm
This is okay. So, Pooja.
forecast too.
Huh?
Forecast. Like
Forecast. Oh yeah, she's doing it. So Pooja, first of all, thank you. This was super helpful. I did have one question I wanted to ask when you talked about your fan inner child work. Um, we've had a couple of questions about that. I'm curious. How do you do your what is your chosen method of dealing with your inner child work, and why are you such a fan of it?
I'm a huge fan of it because I feel like, when we don't connect with our inner child and we don't connect with our past, then it starts shaping our future, right? Because it's like we're getting triggered by things, we're reacting to things based upon the past, based upon past habits, past things that we've been through.
Mm-hmm.
So when you connect with your inner child, you're able to really kind of rewire your brain or just kind of unlearn that habit or pattern that's trying to keep you safe or that is, again, like your reaction. So that's why I like it because I'm like, wow, I wouldn't be where I am currently if I didn't consistently kind of meditate and sit with my inner child and just tell her, like, this is what we're doing. We're going to be good. We're going to be safe. I got us. You're good.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I love it. And I think, again, I really use my moon sign, like understanding my moon in Libra and like surrounding myself with, like, first of all, just having home be peaceful is huge because my like home life when I was growing up was really turbulent. It was like very, very just like lots of anger and like fighting and violence. And
Ah,
so, like, giving myself now a peaceful, stable home is huge. That Libra energy, right? It likes peace, it
yeah.
likes harmony, it likes balance. I buy myself flowers all the time. I give myself beauty. And I was raised poor. So we never had money for things like, like clothes or flowers or makeup or anything like that. And again, just giving myself those things and knowing like you are worthy of this and it is safe to spend money on these things. It's been a game changer for me because I'm like, wow, I
Pooja, I
feel
love
I
this.
just feel
First
so
of all,
good.
congratulations, sis. Like
Thank
what?
you.
That's you just had a moment.
yeah.
And I mean, but coming into that, ooh, I got chills. I mean, coming into that space where it's like I'm doing this. Like it feels good. I know how to take care of myself, and it's. I mean, I'm Pooja. I swear, I'm just like y'all buy myself flowers all the time. I just new peonies right there. I mean, so I mean, so I do I understand that that feeling that home is I get that. That's dope. I'm so glad I asked you that. So you can use your so looking to where your moon sign is.
Mhm.
Um, well, and looking at so what does a Capricorn need? That would tell you what you need
And I know
to kind of.
nothing. Like I feel like that's the thing
That
about
once you go,
astrology.
yeah. Once you
Then you have to research what you were initially researching to research what you know, like
it's so good. So okay, so guys, simple work. um, so I give homework every week. Ev- so temple work. So you guys, it's the end of the year, and people do resolutions. And last year, I believe I had us do kind of like a little reflection over the month. So it was like looking at the last 12 months to see what
is it the one with the pictures?
probably. But this year, what we're going to do, I feel like going into 2022, people are thirsty, like super thirsty for the knowledge of who they are. So let's end out the year with your last temple work. I want you to pull up your charts and look at your sun, your moon, and your rising sign, and really take a deep dive into who you are. So you're looking at who I am, who are you aspiring to be, and see how that resonates with you. And if you would like a great translator, someone to help you get all these questions and answers, please reach out to Pooja.
The puja.
And she did, I mean, honestly, and you guys know I'm a reader, so and it was so fascinating to me, and so validating to me, because I literally feel like I know like my life, like these lies, the stuff that she was saying. I'm like, yeah, like I'm like that's exactly like it was just so it and so it's helpful to learn, but for people who and it can also be such a just a great way to reaffirm what you know about yourself. So that gives you, it's like I got big faith in me now, because I'm like, no, for real, like this
And that
is
spiritual
like,
validation that we talked about too.
yes, it's a thing. So it's take a minute and just really study at least those three. Look up the signs, look where they are.
And share it with us.
Yeah, I want to know, and get ready for 2020, because going in with the full version of yourself is it's gonna be dope. And so Pooja is going to, thank you so much, I'm so excited about this. For our message for the collective, Pooja is going to give us so get your pencils out, okay? Pay attention. she's gonna
Class is in session.
she's gonna give us a little a note for what's going astrologically what's going on for 2022, what to look out for. She's giving us a message, y'all, so pay attention. Pooja.
Thank you. Yes, I think it's really interesting because, right, 2020 was a hot mess. And 2021, I
Yes.
feel like we've been recalibrating. And that obviously is reflected in the astrology. And so 2022, it is a year where we're starting to kind of take action on, because again, 2020 was like, whoa, my paradigm is being rocked right now. Like, what the hell do I believe in? What is going on? 2021, we've been going through these like almost like butting head moments collectively of like people who want to stay back where we were and people who are like, no, things have to change. Like,
Yes.
we did not go through 2020 for things not to shift. So in 2022, it's really taking all of that. That's going to start settling a little bit more. We're going to get kind of more of the okay, here's how we move forward. Because I feel like this year it's been like, how the hell do we move forward? And next year it's going to be like, this is how we're doing it. But also there's going to be more kind of room to take action on the things that we've realized over the last 2 years. The astrology is just less tense and like challenging and bumpy. Again, it's like the universe is like, okay, go forth and apply these things, make these changes. We have so many retrogrades next year, which is interesting. Normally we have 3 Mercury retrogrades a year. Next year we have 4. And then Venus will be retrograding at the start of the year, and then Mars will be retrograding at the end of the year. So with Mercury, right, it's about rethinking, reflecting, when it comes to our minds. What do I think about this? What do I believe? What ideas am I kind of rethinking? With Venus, it's about rethinking our values and money and love. And this is actually starting in a few days. So on the 18th, Venus is going to retrograde of this month, December, until January 28th of 2022. So I personally like this because I think this is almost like at the start of the pandemic, right? We were all forced inside. And then it was kind of like, all right, well, let's make virtual friends. Like, let's connect with everyone just because we can virtually.
Right.
And this Venus retrograde feels like the universe is like, all right, it's time to cut away the excess. It's time to let go of people. It's time to be more discerning. It's time to kind of protect your energy.
Oof.
And to really just, again, like, Pluto's about, he's about stripping away things, and he's about kind of removing things that are kind of toxic or corrupt or just not good for us. So this Venus retrograde is really about, like, again, just like with love and with gratitude, releasing all of those people that maybe we took on board during the pandemic. Because again, we were just like, all right, I got the time. Like, I have nothing better to do. I'm going to be friends with everyone. And now,
ooh, these quarantine couples in trouble, y'all.
Yes. So again, that's kind of the start of the year. January might be a little bit sluggish just because we do have Venus retrograde. And then we'll have Mercury retrograde kicking off January 14th until February 3rd. So we're just going to be reflecting and really rethinking things next year. But I feel like usually during retrograde periods, during it, we're rethinking, and then afterwards we start taking action and letting things click into place. So that's why I really feel like it's like a, not necessarily catch up year, but it's like a year where it's like, okay, like, what is it that you have been wanting to do the past 2 years? Go ahead and do it, because you have clearer skies and you have a smoother path, and you have more kind of divine support and energy to do it.
Oh, yes. Love it. Love it.
Thank you, Puja.
Wow. Thank you so much. You guys, we're done?
We're done.
Wait, Puja, do you what's your favorite crystal?
That's a good question. I have like so many around me right now. I'm like, Lately, I don't know why, I've been really drawn to like jaspers, just like different types of jaspers.
You're in Arizona, right?
Yes.
Jasper. I feel like those places look like jasper pieces, like those.
They do.
Yeah.
Yeah, they do.
Get more like use them for grounding.
Yes, totally. I think I have so much air in my chart, even though I'm a Virgo rising, like the rest of my chart is very like, woo. So I always need things to ground me.
Interesting. Okay, cool. Alrighty. So you guys, thank you so much for listening.
Yes.
This is episode 44
Ending
of the second season.
ending 2021.
So we're ending it out. We thank you guys so much for listening and sharing. We'll be back in a couple of weeks. Yeah, we'll be back in a couple of weeks. Happy holidays to everyone. Hope y'all relax, relate, and relace.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Enjoy your families.
Just take, if you can,
Go back
take
and
the
listen to our
downtime.
podcast.
Yeah,
Drink
go
some
back.
wine.
Yes.
Drink some wine and listen to us.
Right. Get some wine and a pen, and So you guys seriously have take the downtime.
Yeah.
Like take it. I feel like we're all going to need it energetically. We just
Yes.
it's because I feel like if we don't take the time, you guys, our body's going to make us, and we want to stay healthy and in tune with ourselves. So thank you again, Puja, for joining us.
Thank you, Puja. This was amazing.
Yes.
My I feel like I've just sat in a.
I'm literally
organic
like, I
chemistry
can't,
class.
you already know, I'm over here scratching, can't wait to go look. And I'm like, I can't wait. No, I'm ready to do
My
this
brain
research.
is like, woo. Like, I need to go to sleep after that. Oh my gosh. Like, just tell me. I mean, no, but that was great. Thank you.
Thank you both for having me on here. It was so much fun.
Okay. Thank you. 1 second. Wait. Close this out, Christy.
Oh yeah. You guys know how to find us. Continue to show us love, give us reviews, like, share, subscribe. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram at 2 Queens Crystal Things. And then also you can also follow us on our personal Instagram page, Mia, who is an amazing reader. She is an Akashic record reader extraordinaire, Dragonfly diva. Reach out to her for a session. You guys can follow me, Christy R. Edwards, pretty boring. But thank you.
She's pretty awesome.
Thank you guys.